After 40 years living under open skies and the lowing of cattle, I figured I'd seen just about everything. Flash floods, packs of hungry coyotes, even tourists in shiny SUVs stuck axle-deep in mud that has its own kind of memory. But nothing prepared me for the sight that greeted me coming back home from Denver. A steel padlock, chained across my own gate. It didn't look like it belonged on pasture land. It looked like something you'd find on a prison cell. Low musical hum, rising tension. And there she stood, a young woman in a beige power suit, cheeks red as wildfire, gripping the key like she'd just claimed the reins to the whole valley. "You no longer have access," she declared, flinging a stack of paperwork like it was a badge of law. "This road is now Willow Creek HOA jurisdiction, and so are its rules." That's how an ordinary Thursday turned into a standoff. Me, a rancher with dirt beneath his boots, squaring up against a woman who mistook title deeds for dominion. Let me rewind for a second. The name's Earl. Spent 3 quiet days with my grandkids in Denver, and all I wanted was the long stretch of back road and maybe a little sunset whispering over the mountains. My neighbor Jake was watching the herd, so imagine my surprise, turning down the trail I've known longer than my own wrinkles, and finding it sealed shut like I didn't belong. That wasn't a mistake. It was a message. Cue slow heartbeat-like rhythm. Erica Langford, HOA president, clipboard warrior, shoes worth more than a calf and about as much sense. "Earl Withers," she said like she was spitting a curse. "You've been trespassing for years. As of today, you're out." Now I've stood face to face with bulls in a thunderstorm. But my hands shook reaching for my bolt cutters. "You cut that lock! I'm calling the sheriff!" she shouted, voice sharp enough to skin a steer. I paused. This wasn't about a policy, it was about power, and she was testing just how far hers could stretch. I could have clipped that chain right then, but you don't win a range war by shooting the first round. You win by outlasting the storm. So I turned around. 8 extra miles, over rutted rock and forgotten paths. Every bump whispering the same word. Why? But something about how prepared Erica was. It didn't sit right. This wasn't ambition. It was orchestration. So I placed a midnight call to an old friend. Miles, property lawyer, meaner than a rattler in a boot when it came to land rights. "Earl," he grumbled, "you better be dying." I told him what happened. By morning, he'd found gold. Guess what? That road's county property, public access, never transferred to any HOA. They've got no more right to block you than a stranger on the street. Music swells, slow, confident. Armed with county records and a sunrise breeze behind me, I returned. There stood Erica again, phone in hand, ready to film me like she was starring in a courtroom drama. I said nothing, cut the lock, swung the gate wide, and with the calm of a man holding every card, I said, "Only crime here is you trying to block a public road. Have yourself a peaceful day." You think that stopped her? By noon, there were 3 new locks, and a security guard stationed like we were guarding Fort Knox. Cost of that stunt? $200 a day. Do the math. $6,000 a month. For what? To keep one old rancher off land he'd tended half his life. And it didn't take long for the whispers to start. "Earl," Hank said, accountant 3 houses down, "what's this security charge on our HOA bill?" Then Doris, 75 years old and sharper than a branding iron, called and said, "Emergency meeting. Tomorrow night. You better be there." That meeting? A circus of egos and spreadsheets? Erica, standing tall with her PowerPoint like she was briefing the Pentagon, claimed I was a threat, a liability, lowering property values. Then Hank leaned in. "Why are we spending $6,000 a month without a vote?" Silence. I stood, explained the real costs, Road toll threats, security, lawsuits, all adding up to a $300 hike per family. That room shifted. People began demanding answers, receipts, votes. That's when Erica snapped. Told them if they didn't like her choices, maybe they should find somewhere else to live. And in that silence, she lost everything. Because the one thing worse than a tyrant is one who forgets where she came from. Then Doris stood. "Young lady," she said, calm as morning frost. "I've been here longer than your HOA, longer than your streets, longer than you've drawn breath. If anyone needs to leave, it's those trying to rewrite the land's story." Soft guitar picks, hopeful. That night, I realized Erica hadn't just burned a bridge. She'd lit the whole forest on fire and handed me the matches. With Miles's help, I filed a petition. All documented, snowplows and repairs going back decades. And 3 weeks later, the county called. Approved. I was now the official road authority. The next sign put up? Park Road, maintained by Earl Withers. Authorized vehicles only. Erica came storming through a week later, hurling accusations and dust. I just handed her the paperwork and said, "Usage fees start at $5 a trip, ma'am, and you're not on the exemption list." The security guards vanished. HOA members began reaching out, not to fight, but to fix what had been broken. Even local news came calling, a Denver reporter. And Erica's own job? Didn't know she'd been moonlighting as a would-be dictator. The system unraveled fast. Then came the turning point. One night my fences were cut, gates left open, the kind of sabotage that costs lives. But my cameras caught it all. Erica, screaming, pounding. "I am the HOA!" Cops arrested her right there, in the middle of the next meeting. The fallout was biblical. Financial records exposed, misused funds, fake consultations, thousands spent, not on the community, but on her own power trip. She was removed. Hank stepped in. And I had the right to collect from every vehicle that passed, but instead, I offered a peace. A simple trade. Apologies and public support in exchange for cleared fees. Almost everyone signed. Except Erica. She was staring down criminal charges, and worse, isolation. But I don't believe in crushing the fallen. I believe in rebuilding. So I made her an offer. 6 months, on my ranch, unpaid, to learn what real work and real responsibility looks like. She agreed. The learning curve was brutal. Her designer jeans gave out. First rain nearly broke her, but little by little she changed. She fed cattle, fixed fences, pulled her weight when one of my bulls got tangled in barbed wire. She helped save him. And in that muddy pasture, she finally understood. Access is about purpose, responsibility, about service. And authority? Well, it's earned in sweat, not stolen with signatures. When her time was up, she had news. Offered a role at the Colorado Agricultural Preservation Trust, helping protect the very farmland she once threatened. On her last day, the town came together. Potluck, stories, laughter, and a gift from her. A check with everything she'd saved. But I handed it back. "You've already paid," I told her. "Help others learn. That's worth more." 6 months later, a postcard arrived. A photo, Erica beside a wooden sign. Henderson Ranch, protected agricultural land. And 5 words scribbled in blue ink. "Thanks to you, I understand." Now, as I sit and watch the sun go down over an open gate and a road still free, I can't help but smile. Because sometimes the longest way around really is the shortest way home.